First, I wanted to say thank you for inviting me here. When I had the chance encounter with David Obey in the halls of Congress, well, we worked a long time on that phrase, chance encounter. How do we do this? Because NPR and every Democratic operative in the country was trying to demonize me. And night after night, day after day, Linda Shea, Kevin Zeese, and a few other, and Reverend Yearwood, David, and a few other key people were there holding my hand as I cried, because I could not believe, after working for the state of Missouri, the Democratic Party, working congressional campaigns, I worked back as far as 1992 on President Clinton's campaign, senators' campaigns, over and over and over, thinking that, you know, buying into their, if we could just do this, then we could get the job done. And they kept feeding this, and I kept buying into it. As a matter of fact, my mom said, when are you going to quit listening to the Democrats' excuse? If they ever grew a spine, if they ever became an opposition party, maybe they'd get the votes. Maybe in 2000, you know, Gore could have won. Maybe in 2004, if they put up a candidate, they could have won in 2004. Stop buying into their excuses. But I kept buying in until David Obey was saying that if we pass this funding supplemental, it will end the war because it'll make it illegal. And I'm thinking, is this guy really talking to me like this? You know, I mean, I'm just thinking, no, he can't be that. And then when he starts talking about, you know, these idiot liberals just keep getting in the way. And I thought, you know, this guy is supposed to be the champion, self-described champion of the left, and he has such utter contempt. And not only that, I mean, I thought, you know, the ones I was running into, maybe they were the exception because they kept having that same contempt over and over and over. But when David Obey said that, it kind of just really rang that, you know what we've got is two parties. And, but they're really the same coin, they're just different sides.
Yeah.
And how can I go on supporting, you know, when they say, well, you've got to vote for the lesser of two evils, and people still tell me this. And I say, voting for evil is evil.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a little bit evil or a lot evil,
Yeah.
it's evil. And it doesn't help our country. And it doesn't help people like my son. People like my son, who was part of the artillery, and when they did the shelling, was part of what, those cluster bombs that went off into those little kids and into the villages and into the houses. And when my son, because most 60% of them go unexploded upon first contact. And my son still lives every night with a nightmare of seeing when he went into the town of Fallujah, and just shortly afterwards, where they're trying to help the people, and he sees the destruction, and he sees a little bit of hope. There's this child, 9 years old, playing with her brother and her sister. And he's thinking, yes, you know, here's children playing after all this devastation. And he looks a little closer, and he gets a little closer. And he realizes what she's playing with is part of a cluster bomb. The bombette has little beautiful purple and pink strings that go down from the end, the little streamers. And she was busy twirling it. And about the time my son realized what it was, it exploded, blew off her arm, half her face, killed her brother and her sister. And all my son could think was that that was probably from one of his shells. He killed those little children. And he lives every day with that nightmare. Every single day. Every single night. He still goes back and forth about, do I need to kill myself or not? Have I done enough to try to reprieve? How do I keep fighting? And so, these are the things and the thoughts that I came to the halls of Congress with. And then to have the party that I worked for 15 years consider me an idiot liberal because I decided I need an answer, and that maybe we might, of the peace community, have an idea on how to end this insanity that has destroyed my family, that I've given up everything for. And all the Democratic operatives come out and say, why is she wasting that precious congressman's time? Well, Kevin Zeese was there for me. He was there holding my hand, and he was there to make sure that I had the strength and the knowledge, the know-how, and the press and the media, through the activism and the media that he does, to make sure that I had the tools to fight back. And I fought back with his help. So tonight, when I look at the peace movement, I think the peace movement is strong. The peace movement is bringing in more and more new people. And the peace movement is expanding. It is encompassing more areas. We realize that we can't be single issue because we get hijacked by different parties. We get hijacked by the parties, and they take that issue and they manipulate it, and they try to extract the funds for them to continue their imperialistic agenda. And that is not something that I feel that we can get behind, that we need to really join together, keep the peace movement strong, but join it with other movements. Because when you can find candidates that not only can talk and be believed about getting us out of Iraq, but can talk about the social justice issues, that can talk about the 14-year-old kid who got shot in the back of the head right here in DC. Those are the type of candidates that we need. And I don't care what party that they run on, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green, Socialist, I don't care. But we really need to make sure that we don't just support somebody because they may be the lesser of two evils. We need to really make sure that the candidate that we get behind, that we help organize, that candidate is going to really be somebody that we can believe in. Thanks.